My twin sister showed up at the psychiatric hospital with her arms covered in bruises, and that's when I knew it was time to switch our lives and make those monsters pay for what they'd done. What I did next will shock you. You have to see how this ends. My name is Ava, and my sister's name is Emma. We're twins, identical down to the last freckle. But our lives? Complete opposites. Oil and water, heaven and hell. People always said I wasn't right in the head, that I was dangerous. The doctors used fancier words: impulse control disorder, emotional dysregulation. But I'll tell you what it really is. I feel everything 10 times harder than normal people. When I'm happy, my chest feels like it's gonna explode. And when I'm angry, well, my anger is what got me locked up in this place. I was 16 when it happened. Some punk was dragging Emma down the street by her hair, trying to pull her into an alley. She was crying, begging him to stop. I felt the rage boil up so fast I couldn't think straight. Next thing I knew, that kid was on the ground screaming, his arm bent at an angle arms aren't supposed to bend. I'd smashed him with a metal trash can. People weren't looking at him, though. They were looking at me, like I was the monster. My parents were already struggling. They couldn't handle me after that. The screaming matches, the destroyed furniture when I got mad, the constant fear in their eyes. So they brought me here, Crestwood State Hospital. And just like that, 10 years of my life disappeared. 10 years in a room smaller than 100 square feet. 10 years staring at the world through barred windows. 10 years with nothing but medication, therapy sessions, and the screams of other patients echoing down the halls. But honestly, I don't hate it here. It's quiet. Nobody bothers me. I've got books to read and space to think. And most importantly, I've spent every single day training. Push-ups, pull-ups using the window bars, sit-ups, anything to burn off the energy constantly bubbling inside me. My body's lean now, hard as stone. These 10 years gave me one gift. I'm stronger than most men out there could ever dream of being. The only thing that hurts, the only thing that keeps me up at night is worrying about Emma. See? We split our parents' DNA differently. Emma got all of Mom's sweetness, all her kindness. I got Dad's fire, his temper. Emma wouldn't hurt a fly. She cries when she sees sad commercials. The day they dragged me away to this hospital, she sobbed so hard she made herself sick. Ava, it should have been me, she whispered through the glass during her first visit. I'm useless. You're the strong one. I slapped the glass so hard it cracked. Don't you ever say that again. You hear me? You gotta live, Emma. You gotta be happy. Live for both of us. She promised me she would. But then, the year after I got locked up, she came to visit with a man. Said they were getting married. His name was Michael Hayes. Tall, decent looking, had a job at some warehouse. But his eyes, I didn't like his eyes. They were shifty, moving around like he was always looking for an angle. And when he looked at me through that visiting room glass, I saw it clear as day, contempt, like I was some circus freak. I grabbed Emma's hand through the slot. I don't like him, Em. Please, think about this. She just gave me this sad, broken smile. With my luck, Ava, it's a miracle anyone wants to marry me at all. Mom and Dad are getting old. He promised he'd take care of me. I wanted to scream. I wanted to break through that glass and shake some sense into her. But what could I do? I was the crazy one. Nobody was going to listen to me. The wedding happened. I couldn't go, obviously. Emma visited every month after that. Always brought me something, fruit, cookies, whatever she could afford. She'd talk about her new life, her house, her pregnancy. Then she'd talk about her daughter, Lily. She tried so hard to sound happy, but I'm Ava. I'm her other half. I knew she was lying. Every visit, she got thinner. The dark circles under her eyes got darker. Her smile got more fragile, more forced. And she always wore long sleeves. Always. Even in the middle of July when it was 100 degrees outside. Right? Women gotta dress modest, she'd say when I asked, oh, liar. She was hiding. Something. Today was visiting day again. I'd been waiting since dawn. The sky outside was gray and heavy, matching the feeling in my gut. Something was wrong. I could feel it. The rage I'd learned to control over 10 years was starting to stir, like a beast waking up hungry. I heard the lock click. The heavy door screeched open, and then I saw her. Emma wasn't Emma anymore. She was a ghost, a skeleton. She'd lost at least 20 pounds. Her face was hollow and pale, and she was wearing this ratty old sweater buttoned all the way up despite the summer heat. But what made my blood run cold were her eyes. Where were my sister's bright, sweet eyes? These were dead. Empty. and under her left cheekbone, barely covered by cheap drugstore makeup, was a dark, purple bruise. "Hey, Ava," she whispered. Her voice shook like a dry leaf in the wind. "How you doing?" She set down a basket of bruised oranges, the cheap kind you get on clearance. I didn't answer. I walked right up to her and touched the bruise on her face with my finger. She flinched back like I'd burned her. "It's nothing. I fell off my bike." "You fell off your bike," I repeated slowly. My voice was ice. "And you just happened to land perfectly on one eye?" She looked down, wringing her hands together. That's when I saw them. Her knuckles were swollen and red, her nails bitten down to nothing. These weren't the hands of someone who fell off a bike. These were the hands of someone fighting for their life. The anger started rising. I took a deep breath, trying to stay calm. "Emma, why are you wearing long sleeves when it's 90 degrees outside?" I don't like the sun lately. I've been feeling weak. I couldn't take it anymore." I grabbed her wrist. She let out a cry and tried to pull away. "Ava, stop!" "That hurts." "That hurt? That hurt?" I yanked her sleeve up, and then I saw hell. Emma's arm was covered in bruises. Old yellow ones, fresh purple ones, red marks, circular bruises like someone had grabbed her hard, long thin welts like from a belt or a whip. I let go of her hand. My whole body started shaking, not from fear, but from pure rage. Rage I hadn't felt in 10 years. "Michael," I said. It wasn't a question. Emma froze. Then she just collapsed, like a dam breaking. She fell to her knees, covering her face, sobbing harder than I'd ever seen. Ava, help me. Please help me." She crawled over and grabbed my legs. "He hits me. He hits me all the time. His mother, his sister, they all treat me like garbage. And her voice broke. He hits Lily too. He hit Lily." Everything stopped. The world went silent. That monster put his hands on Lily, my 3-year-old niece. I crouched down and pulled Emma up. She slumped against me, completely drained. "Stop crying," I said. My voice came out deep and rough. "Crying doesn't fix anything. Tell me everything. From the beginning. What has that bastard done to you? What has he done to Lily?" Emma sat on my metal bed, shaking. I gave her water. She drank between sobs, and then she started talking. And with every word, I signed that family's death sentence. "At first he acted normal," Emma began, her voice cracking. "At least around Mom and Dad. But once I moved in with his family, that's when I learned what hell really was. Michael was a gambling addict. Worked some dead-end warehouse job, but spent every night betting on sports and playing online poker. He blew through all our wedding money in 3 months," Emma sobbed. When I said something, he slapped me. First time ever. Said, "What do you know, woman? It's my money." That slap became a habit. "Lost money? Hit Emma. Won money? Hit Emma anyway. Said it was her fault he didn't win more." I clenched my fists so hard my nails drew blood. But I didn't feel it. But the worst part, Emma trembled, wasn't Michael. It was his mother, Mrs. Carter, a cruel, controlling woman who treated Emma like a servant. Complained about everything. Food was too salty or too bland. House was never clean enough. "She made me hand wash the whole family's underwear," Emma whispered. "Even Sophia's and the sister-in-law." I growled. Emma shook her head. "Sophia's even worse. She got divorced, moved back home with her son Mason, lives there rent-free and treats me like a maid. Her kid," Emma's voice broke again. "Mason torments Lily every single day. He's 5. He takes her toys, pushes her down, spits in her food. When I said something, Sophia came running and screamed at me. 'Who do you think you are to scold my son? Your daughter doesn't even have a father who cares about her.' Then she told Mason to hit Lily, told him to teach that brat a lesson." "And Michael?" I asked. My voice was barely human anymore. "What did your husband do?" "He looked away," Emma whispered. "Said girls are useless anyway, that I should have given him a son." My vision went red. "Yesterday," Emma continued, her whole body shaking, "Michael came home drunk. Lost money betting again. Mason was pulling Lily's hair, and she was crying. Michael he lost it. Started screaming at her to shut up. When she cried louder, she couldn't finish. She put her hand to her cheek. He hit her," I finished for her. My voice didn't sound like mine anymore. Emma nodded, tears streaming down her face. "She's 3 years old, Ava. She had a handprint across her whole face. When I tried to stop him, he dragged me to the bathroom and smashed my head against the sink. I thought I was gonna die. I couldn't breathe. She rolled up her other sleeve. More bruises. These are from Mrs. Carter and Sophia. When they saw Michael hitting me, instead of stopping him, they joined in. Sophia scratched me with a comb. Mrs. Carter shoved dirty socks in my mouth to shut me up. That was it. That was enough. I stood up. Emma looked at me terrified. Ava, what are you gonna do? I walked to the small metal mirror in my room, looked at myself, looked at Emma. We were identical. Emma, I turned around. My voice was eerily calm. You didn't come here for a visit today. You came here to switch lives. Emma's eyes went wide. Ava, what are you? We switch places. You stay here. I go out there. No, no. Emma grabbed my hands. That place is hell. Those people are animals. You've been locked up for 10 years. You won't survive out there. And how would you even get out? I smiled. A cold, dangerous smile. You're wrong, sis. I've been living with animals here too. The only difference is these ones are locked up and those ones are running free. I grabbed her shoulders. Listen to me. You're not crazy. That's why you can't beat them. I am crazy. Only someone like me can handle that trash. I pulled her to the mirror. Look, we're identical. Who's gonna tell us apart? But Ava, do you want Lily to grow up getting beat? Do you want to rot in that house? I looked her dead in the eyes. Trust me, I haven't spent 10 years in here for nothing. I've been waiting for this. I explained the plan fast. Visiting time was almost up. You become Ava. You stay in this room. You're safe here. Nobody's gonna hit you. The doctors and nurses are good people. They just don't understand me. You stay quiet, read my books, eat, sleep. That's it. Just wait for me. I looked at her with complete certainty. I'm gonna clean up that dump. I'm gonna make them pay. I'm gonna get Lily out. I promise you. Emma's desperate look slowly changed. A tiny spark of hope appeared. She nodded. We switched clothes quickly. I put on her ratty, mildew-smelling outfit. It smelled like fear and old blood. My rage burned hotter. I slipped her ID and house keys into my pocket. Emma, drowning in my hospital uniform, suddenly looked so small. I hugged her fiercely. Don't move from here. Wait for me. The bell rang. Visiting time over. I took a deep breath and walked to the door. The nurse saw me and nodded. Mrs. Hayes heading out? I nodded, forcing Emma's timid smile. The iron door slammed shut behind me. I walked out the main entrance. The summer sun hit my face, blinding, hot, overwhelming. 10 years. 10 years since I'd breathed free air. It smelled like car exhaust, dust, and city noise. But to me, it smelled like war, and I was a demon who'd just broken out of her chains. I squeezed the keys in my pocket. Michael. Mrs. Carter, Sophia, Mason, I'm coming. I took the bus, then walked almost a mile following Emma's directions. The house was deep in a dark alley on the east side. The neighborhood was rough, houses crammed together. Electrical wires hanging like spiderwebs, smell of sewage and rotting garbage everywhere. I stopped in front of a rundown single-story house. Rusty gate, peeling paint. This is where Emma lived. My sister, who used to keep everything so neat and clean. My hands shook as I unlocked the door. It swung open with a screech. The first thing I saw was chaos. Clothes thrown everywhere. Dirty dishes on the table covered in flies. The floor was sticky. The whole place smelled sour and rotten. Then I saw Lily. She was sitting in the darkest corner of the room, next to an old cabinet. Skin and bones, pale, wearing a torn dress that was way too small. She held a doll with no head. When she heard the door, she flinched. She looked up and saw me. She didn't run to her mother. She shrank back. Hugged the broken doll tighter. Her eyes were full of fear. This child was afraid of her own mother. They'd broken a 3-year-old so badly, she was terrified of the one person who should protect her. Damn animals. I tried to soften my face. Crouched down. Used the gentlest voice I could manage. Lily, sweetie. Mommy's here. The girl just trembled. Come here, baby. Come to Mommy. I held out my hand. She hesitated, looking behind me like she was waiting for someone else to appear and hurt her. Then that someone spoke. Well, well. The leech crawled back home. A sharp, nasty voice came from inside the house. Mrs. Carter shuffled out. Short, heavy, with gray skin and mean little eyes. She wore dirty pajamas and waved a hand fan at me. Where you been all day? Out visiting that psycho sister of yours? She spit on the floor right next to me. You bring anything useful back, or you just coming home to mooch off our food again? I slowly stood up, putting myself between her and Lily. I didn't say a word, just stared at her. Mrs. Carter noticed something was different. Her daughter-in-law, who usually kept her head down and trembled, was standing tall today. Looking her right in the eye, "What? What are you staring at?" She raised the fan and pointed it at my face. "What's your problem today? You want me to smack you?" I gave her a slow, cold smile. "Sorry, mother-in-law. I didn't hear you clearly." My smile seemed to chill her blood. You... Before she could finish, another shrill voice cut in. "Oh, Mom, don't waste your time on her. Just tell her to make dinner." "I'm starving." Sophia came out of the bedroom. Heavy like her mother, face covered in acne, badly dyed blonde hair. Behind her was a chubby 5-year-old with the same arrogant expression, Mason. Mason saw Lily and ran toward her. "Hey, you're playing with a doll? Give it to me!" He ripped the headless doll from Lily's hands. Lily burst into tears. "Give it back. Give it back, Mason. It's mine. I don't wanna." Mason held it up and smashed it against the wall. "This is garbage anyway." He turned and shoved Lily hard. "Why you crying? Shut up. I'll hit you for real." Lily fell onto the filthy floor. She was so scared she stopped crying immediately, just making these choked little sounds. Mrs. Carter and Sophia watched and laughed. "That's my boy," Sophia said proudly. "Gotta be tough like that." My rage, the rage I'd controlled for 10 years, roared to life. The smile disappeared from my face. Mason, seeing Lily wasn't crying anymore, got bolder. He walked over and raised his foot to kick her. I said, "Shut up." A hand grabbed his ankle midair. Mason's eyes went wide. He lost his balance and fell backward, but his ankle was still locked in place. In my hand, the house went dead silent. Mason had never had Lily's mother fight back before. Never had anyone stop him. "Let go! Let go, you crazy witch! How dare you touch me?" He squirmed. I didn't say a word. Just squeezed. "A little. Ow! Ow, it hurts! Mom! Grandma! She's breaking my leg." Mason started screaming. Sophia finally reacted. "Oh my God, Emma, what are you doing? Let go of my son right now." She ran at me, nails out, ready to scratch my face. Still holding Mason's leg, I caught Sophia's wrist with my other hand mid-swing. "Let go." Sophia struggled, but my grip was like iron. "Sister-in-law," I said calmly, "you should teach your son better manners. He's a kid, yeah, but he can't be a spoiled brat." I squeezed both their limbs a little harder. Mason and Sophia both screamed. "Next time he touches Lily, I won't settle for just one broken leg." "Mom! Mom, help me!" Sophia shrieked. Mrs. Carter finally snapped out of her shock. Her daughter-in-law, the one she beat and insulted daily, was fighting back. She grabbed a feather duster from nearby. You've lost your mind." She started hitting my back with it. "I'm gonna beat you to death." The duster smacked against my shoulders and back over and over. I didn't even flinch. 10 years in the hospital taught me to handle way worse pain than this. I slowly released Mason and Sophia. They scrambled backward. Mrs. Carter, seeing I wasn't reacting, got bolder. "I'll beat that attitude right out of you so you know your place." I straightened up and turned to face her. The duster kept hitting my chest and arms. I raised my hand and grabbed the handle. Mrs. Carter tried to yank it away. It didn't move an inch. I looked at her. She looked at me. In her eyes, rage. In mine, cold, empty darkness. I pulled hard. Mrs. Carter stumbled forward. I snapped the duster handle in half. Crack, I threw the pieces at her feet. "Starting today," I said quietly, "this house is going to have some new rules." I looked at Mrs. Carter breathing hard, Sophia clutching her wrist, and Mason whimpering on the floor. "Now," I said, "what's for dinner tonight, mother-in-law?" Mrs. Carter, caught between fear and fury, stammered. The dinner. That rotten fish you brought from the market yesterday. Make a stew with it. Real salty and dry so we don't waste my money feeding your useless mouth." There it was. The signature dish Emma told me about. The nasty fish stew she was forced to cook and eat every night. "Yes, mother-in-law," I said sweetly. "I'll make it exactly how you like it." I walked into the kitchen, leaving 3 pairs of shocked eyes staring after me. I found the fish in a basin. It smelled rotten already. With perfect calm, I cleaned it and put it in a pot. Then I dumped half a container of salt into it. I let it cook until all the liquid evaporated and the fish was burned black and crusty. The smell of salt and burning filled the whole house. It was absolutely disgusting. I set the table. A bowl of yesterday's cold rice, a plate of yellowish boiled vegetables, and my masterpiece, the fish stew black as tar. Mother-in-law. "Sophia, Mason, dinner's ready." Mrs. Carter, huffing and puffing, sat down at the table. She grabbed a big piece of fish and shoved it in her mouth. Her face went from red to purple in 2 seconds. She spit it out. "Bleh, bleh, this is so salty. You trying to kill me?" I calmly picked up some vegetables. "You told me to make it salty and dry. I followed your instructions exactly. You don't like it? Like it? I'm gonna—" She grabbed the hot pot with her bare hands, ready to dump it on my head. Boom! I slammed my fist on the table. The cheap plywood shook violently. Plates and silverware rattled and jumped. "Put it down." My voice wasn't loud, but it was enough to make everyone freeze. Mrs. Carter's hands stopped midair. She looked at me and saw something in my eyes that terrified her. "You're not going to waste food," I said softly. "If you don't eat it, I'll feed it to you myself. A daughter-in-law should be respectful to her mother-in-law, right?" I stood up and walked around the table, picked up a big spoon, scooped up a piece of the burnt, salty fish. "Open wide, mother-in-law. This is—" Mrs. Carter shoved her chair back. I grabbed her chin with one hand and squeezed. Her mouth popped open. I shoved the spoonful down her throat. "Eat it," I said. "Taste what Emma had to eat for 7 years. Taste what it's like when people don't respect your work." Mrs. Carter coughed and gagged, snot and tears mixing on her face. The hard, salty chunk got stuck in her throat. She tried to spit it out. I held her jaw shut. Swallow. Sophia couldn't just sit there watching. Years of bullying others made her forget her fear. "Let go of my mother." She ran at me, ready to claw my face with her long nails. She thought I was busy holding Mrs. Carter, that I wouldn't be ready. Wrong. My left hand held Mrs. Carter's jaw. My right hand was free. Without even turning my head, I swung my right hand back in a vicious backhand slap. Crack! It sounded like a gunshot. Sophia froze, staggered. Her huge body spun and slammed into the wall. Her cheek went from pale to deep red instantly. Swelled up like a balloon. The imprint of my 5 fingers was clearly visible. She touched her face with shaking hands. Looked at me with total disbelief. She, who'd spent her whole life hitting and insulting others, had just been hit for the first time. By the sister-in-law, she'd always treated like garbage. I let go of Mrs. Carter's jaw. She immediately crawled on the floor, coughing and vomiting up the piece of fish. I turned to Sophia. "Does your cheek hurt, sister-in-law?" She trembled, half from fear, half from humiliation. You dare to hit me? I'm your sister-in-law. I only slapped you." I walked closer. She pressed against the wall, trying to back away. "You want to feel what a real beating's like? Like the one you and your mom gave Emma last night while Michael was drowning her head in the toilet?" Sophia's face went white as a sheet. How do you know about—" "I know everything," I smiled. "I also know you scratched my sister with a comb, and that your mother shoved dirty socks in her mouth. Want to try it? See how it feels?" I glanced at a pile of Mason's filthy socks in the corner. Sophia let out a scream and ran into her bedroom. The door slammed. The lock clicked. Mrs. Carter, seeing her daughter flee, crawled to her own room as fast as her heavy body could move. Slam! Another locked door. Mason, seeing his grandma and mom get beat up and run away, peed himself. A dark stain spread across his shorts. He didn't make a sound, just ran after his mother. The house went completely silent. Only Lily and I were left in the living room, along with that steaming pot of nasty fish stew. I turned around. Lily was still in her corner, but she wasn't crying. She was staring at me with wide eyes. The fear in her gaze had lessened. Now there was amazement, curiosity. My heart ached. I threw away the dirty spoon. Went to the kitchen. Emma told me the old witch always hid the good food in a private fridge, afraid her kids would find it. I opened the rusty old fridge in the back. Just as expected, chicken, ham, yogurt, fresh fruit. I took out a cooked chicken leg and some yogurt. Found the fresh rice Emma had hidden for Lily. I heated it up, shredded the chicken over a big portion of rice, and put it on a clean plate. I brought it to Lily. "Eat, baby." My voice was soft. "Eat until you're full. From now on, nobody's taking your food. Nobody's hitting you." I sat down next to her. Lily looked at me, looked at the plate. The smell of chicken was amazing. She was so hungry. Carefully, she picked up the spoon, took a bite, and burst into tears, this time not from fear. She was crying while she ate, sobbing with each bite. I didn't try to comfort her with words. Just sat beside her, gently rubbing her back. "Eat, little one. Eat it all. Mommy's here now." Lily finished the whole plate of rice and drank the yogurt. When she was done, she looked at me for a long moment. Then she got up and wrapped her skinny little arms around my neck. The weakest hug, but it hit me like a truck. "Mommy," she whispered, "you're different today." I hugged her back, careful not to squeeze too tight. Mommy just decided not to be scared anymore. That night, I slept with Lily in my arms. The girl slept deeply. Probably the first time in forever she'd eaten a full meal and felt safe. But I didn't sleep. I stayed awake, listening. Emma told me Michael's shift ended at 11 p.m. He always came home drunk. At exactly 11:30, I heard it. The rumble of a motorcycle engine in the alley, sharp brakes screeching, stumbling footsteps, a stream of curses, damn it. Lost again. Lost everything. "Open the damn door!" Michael was home. Lily, sleeping in my arms, flinched and buried her head in my chest. I stroked her hair. "Shh, go back to sleep, baby. Mommy's here." Boom! The front door was kicked open. A tall man stumbled in, at least 6'2". He reeked of cheap beer, cigarettes, and sour sweat. His work clothes were greasy and disheveled. His bloodshot eyes darted around. This was the demon who'd tormented my sister for 7 years. The bastard who'd hit his own 3-year-old daughter in the face, Emma. "Where are you?" he bellowed. "Get out here." Not seeing anyone, he grabbed a glass from the table, a clean glass I'd washed earlier, and smashed it against the bedroom wall. Crash. Glass shattered everywhere. Lily screamed and started crying. "I'm scared, Mommy. I'm scared. Daddy's here." I held her tight. "Hush, baby, stay here. Close your eyes and cover your ears. Mommy's gonna take care of this real quick." I tucked her into the bed and covered her with the blanket. Then I walked out of the bedroom. Michael saw me. He grinned nastily. "Oh, there you are. Get me some water. I'm thirsty, move it." I stood about 10 feet away from him. Didn't move. Michael frowned. His wife usually ran to obey as soon as she heard his voice. "You deaf?" I said, "Get me water." He looked around for something to throw. "You got an attitude today? Guess I gotta teach you another lesson." He stumbled toward me, raising his hand. The same slap he'd used to discipline Emma for 7 years. The same hand he'd used to hit Lily last night. "I'm gonna beat you so bad." His thick, hairy arm swung toward my face. It stopped in midair. I'd caught his wrist. Michael's eyes went wide. He tried to yank his arm free. He couldn't. His wrist was trapped like it was caught in a bear trap. He looked at me. Looked at my hand gripping his wrist. His drunk brain was trying to process this. "What are you? Let go of me!" He was starting to realize something was very wrong. His weak little wife shouldn't have this kind of strength. "Let go!" He threw a punch at my face with his other hand. It was a drunk's punch, sloppy but strong enough to break teeth. Still holding his wrist, I simply tilted my head. His fist grazed my ear. Michael looked even more confused. He'd missed. "Honey," I said. My voice was sickeningly sweet. "Long day at work?" You bitch!" He sensed danger, tried to pull away, but I squeezed harder. Crack, a short, dry sound. His wrist bone dislocating. Michael screamed. A high-pitched scream that sobered him up instantly. "My hand!" "What did you do to my hand?" He collapsed to his knees. I didn't let go. I pulled him back up by the dislocated wrist. "Hitting's become a habit for you, hasn't it?" You're not Emma. Who are you?" "I'm your wife," I smiled. "The same one you love to slam against the bathroom sink." I slapped him. Slap. This wasn't Emma's weak slap. This was my slap. 10 years of contained rage behind it. The big man staggered and smashed his head against the wall. Fell face down on the floor. His cheek split open, blood pouring out. He was dazed, barely conscious. A woman had just knocked him down. "Mom! Trina, help me!" He screamed, terrified. "Save me! Emma's gone crazy!" She's hitting me! From the 2 bedrooms, not a sound. Mrs. Carter and Sophia heard everything. But they didn't dare open their doors. They trembled behind them like cowards. Michael realized no one was coming to save him. Pain, humiliation, and alcohol turned into blind rage. The rage of a man whose pride had been destroyed. You dare to hit me? I'm gonna kill you! He staggered to his feet like a wounded animal, lunged at me with his arms wide, trying to crush me with his body weight. I sighed. Too slow. I didn't back away. I stepped forward. As he charged, I ducked low, grabbed his hair with one hand, and yanked his head down hard. With my other hand, I made a fist and drove it straight into his solar plexus. Boom! A sickening thud. Michael folded in half. His eyes rolled back. Drool and stomach acid poured out of his mouth. He couldn't even scream, just gasped with his mouth hanging open like a fish. I was still holding his greasy hair. This, I whispered in his ear, is for Lily. I yanked his head up by the hair. And this, I slapped him again, crack, is for my sister Emma. I dragged him across the floor. He was big, maybe 200 pounds, but right now he was like a sack of garbage. I dragged him into the bathroom. The narrow, filthy bathroom where he'd drowned Emma's head in the sink. You like dunking your wife's head in water, huh? I filled the sink with cold water. I grabbed his hair and shoved his head under. Refreshing, honey? Michael thrashed like a pig at slaughter. Dirty water splashed everywhere. Bubbles rose to the surface. I held his head down for a slow count of 10. Then yanked it up for 1 second. Help! Hell! Splash. Back under. I leaned close to his ear. Is the water cold, baby? You loved doing this to Emma, didn't you? You heard her begging, saw her terror. How's it feel? Glub, glub, glub. Please. Splash. I pulled his head up one more time. His face was gray. His eyes rolled back. Snot, spit, and dirty water dripped off him. He was shaking uncontrollably. The drunk anger was completely gone. Only absolute terror remained. He looked at me like he was seeing a ghost from hell. The big man who'd been threatening to kill me a minute ago was now cowering, and I smelled it. He'd peed himself. I wrinkled my nose. Gross. I let him go. Michael collapsed on the bathroom floor, coughing and vomiting. He puked up the beer, the food, even bile. I looked down at him with cold disgust. For 10 years, I used these hands to read books and do pull-ups. Now I'm using them to take out the trash. I left him whimpering like a dying dog on the bathroom floor and walked out. I heard the door to Mrs. Carter's room crack open slightly, then slam shut. They'd seen everything. Good. The more they saw, the more afraid they'd be. In the kitchen, I noticed the pot of salty fish stew that Mrs. Carter had spit out earlier. An idea came to mind. A dark idea, but very, very satisfying. Emma told me Mrs. Carter was the ringleader, the mastermind. Michael was just the muscle. To stop a dog from biting, you break its teeth. But to stop a dog from obeying its master, you make it fear and hate that master. I looked around. In the dirty laundry corner, I found a plastic basin full of sour-smelling clothes. Emma hadn't washed the family's laundry since yesterday. On top of the pile were Mrs. Carter's old, stained underwear. I smiled. I turned the stove back on. Put a big pot of water on to boil. Using a wooden stick, I grabbed the underwear and dropped them into the pot. The water bubbled and boiled. A horrible smell rose up, worse than sewage. Meanwhile, Michael had crawled out of the bathroom. He dragged himself to Mrs. Carter's door. Mom, help me! That woman is crazy. Mom! The door stayed closed. Go away! Mrs. Carter's voice was shrill with fear. Go away! If you're crazy, die by yourself. Don't bring her near me. Michael froze. His mother, the mother who'd always protected him, who'd encouraged him to beat his wife, was abandoning him. He turned to look at me. I ladled a bowl of broth from the pot. Thick, yellowish liquid. I placed the bowl in front of Michael. Drink. He stared at it blankly. What is this? Medicine? Medicine to cure abusive husbands, I said. Medicine to cure ungrateful sons. Medicine to cure the sickness of hitting your wife because mommy told you to. Drink up, honey. He looked at the bowl. Sniffed it. His face went white as paper. He understood. No. You're a demon. He tried to crawl backward. A demon? I laughed. Compared to drowning a woman's head in the toilet, slapping a 3-year-old child, and forcing someone to eat garbage. This is very humane. I grabbed his hair and yanked his head back. I told you, I snarled. This house has rules now. First rule, you reap what you sow. Your mother sowed the seeds. You, her son, get to eat the fruit. Drink. I forced his mouth open and poured the disgusting broth down his throat. He squirmed and gagged, trying to vomit. But I held him tight. He had to swallow, sip by sip. The door to Mrs. Carter's room flew open. She stood there, eyes wide with horror. She saw her underwear in the pot, saw her son being forced to drink the water they'd been boiled in. Her eyes rolled back. Oh my God. Oh my God. You... Michael vomited violently, heaving up bile. Mrs. Carter looked at her son, looked at me. There was no more cruelty in her eyes, only pure terror. She stumbled backward and fainted. Perfect. I looked at Michael, who was convulsing on the floor. See? Your mom fainted. Now get your ass to your room. If I hear one sound from you tonight, one moan, I'll make you drink the water from that whole basin of dirty laundry. Michael, with whatever strength fear gave him, crawled to his bedroom. Slammed the door. The house finally went silent. The next morning, the house was quiet as a tomb. I got up early, bathed Lily properly for the first time in who knows how long, made us a real breakfast from Mrs. Carter's secret stash, sautéed beef, fried eggs, toast. Lily ate like she'd never seen food before. Color was already starting to come back to her cheeks. From the bedrooms, nothing. Mrs. Carter, Sophia, and Michael, the 3 demons from yesterday, were hiding like dead rats. Didn't even dare peek out. I fed Lily and put on cartoons for her. Around 9 a.m., there was a loud, authoritative knock at the door. Who is it? I called. Police. Open the door. I smiled. That was fast. I opened the door. 2 officers stood there, one older, one younger. Both looked serious. The young officer looked at me, taking in Emma's old bruises still visible on my arms. Are you Michael Hayes' wife, Emma? Yes, sir. We received a complaint from Michael Hayes. He says you assaulted him violently last night. Right on cue, Michael crawled out of the bedroom. He looked pathetic, face swollen. One cheek bruised and split, wrist bandaged, walking with a limp. He was playing it up, wincing dramatically. When he saw the cops, he practically sobbed with relief. Officers! Look what she did to me. He pointed at his face. She's crazy. She's the sister of that psycho in the mental hospital. The crazy rubbed off on her. Arrest her! Lock her up! Mrs. Carter and Sophia poked their heads out, backing up his story. It's true, officers, Mrs. Carter whined. She hit her husband, her mother-in-law, and her sister-in-law. Sophia pointed to her still swollen cheek. Look what she did to me. The older officer frowned. He looked at the huge Michael, then at tiny me. Mrs. Hayes, he said seriously. Is what they're saying true? Did you assault these people? I didn't deny it. Yes, officer, I said quietly. I did. I hit them. Michael, Mrs. Carter, and Sophia's eyes lit up. See? She confessed. Arrest her! But, I continued, I did it in self-defense. My husband, my mother-in-law, and my sister-in-law have been assaulting me. Liar, Michael shouted. When did I ever hit you? I looked at the older officer calmly. Officer, my husband is accusing me of assault. Can I ask what legally defines assault? The young cop started to answer, but I cut him off. Because if a husband beats his wife until she's covered in bruises, chokes her head underwater, breaks her ribs, and slaps her face until it swells, can that also be called assault? The older officer paused. He was starting to understand. You mean, I mean this. I went to the bedroom and pulled out a folder Emma had given me at the hospital. Medical reports she'd been secretly collecting. I laid them on the table. This is my medical report from 3 months ago. Broken ribs? Doctor noted it was from blunt force trauma. I took out a photo. This is my face from 2 months ago. Broken nose. My husband said I fell. I pulled out a stack of injury reports. These are bruises on my arms, my back, belt marks, scratches, 7 years worth, officers. 7 years of beatings. Who was I supposed to complain to? When I told neighbors, they said it was a couple's fight. When I went to the police station before, the officers told me to work it out at home. I looked Michael dead in the eyes. He was trembling. I rolled up my sleeves, showing the old bruises. Look, this is from 2 days ago. My husband hit our 3-year-old daughter in the face. When I tried to stop him, he dragged me to the bathroom and tried to drown me. My mother-in-law and sister-in-law held me down. The 2 officers were stunned. They looked at me, then at the 3 victims. My voice shook. I was channeling Emma now. I put up with it for 7 years. Yesterday my husband came home drunk, kicked down the door, threw things, tried to hit me and my daughter again. I couldn't take it anymore. I fought back for the first time. I looked at Michael. I've hit my husband once. He's hit me thousands of times. I turned to the officers. If a husband can hit his wife and not get arrested because it's a domestic matter, then isn't it also a domestic matter when a wife finally hits back? The older officer sighed heavily. He'd seen too many cases like this. He turned to Michael. His voice became sharp and cold. Michael Hayes, look at you. You're what, 6'2"? 200 pounds? Your wife is half your size. She's got evidence of years of abuse. And now that she finally defended herself, you call U.S. to arrest her? But nothing. The officer slammed his hand on the table. With this stack of medical reports, if I open a case, you're the one going to jail. Domestic violence, felony assault. You want to go to prison? Michael's face went ash gray. I'm warning this whole family. The officer pointed at all 3 of them. Live like decent human beings. Don't make us come back here. Next time won't just be a warning. He turned to me, his voice softening. Mrs. Hayes, if this man hits you again, come directly to the station with these reports. We'll take care of it. Understood? Yes, officer. Thank you. The 2 cops left. Michael, Mrs. Carter, and Sophia stood there, frozen. They looked at me with a new expression, mixture of fear and hatred. They knew the law wasn't on their side anymore, and I knew they wouldn't stop. They'd try something else.